Okay, so what I have here is a Toyota diesel. It is the 2KD engine, which is advertised as the D4D. It is a Hilux, third world sold only, and it has a few modifications already. I enjoy toying around with it a little bit, so got a winch on the front, and the winch came off of a full-size Land Cruiser equivalent of the Lexus, I think 470 or something like that. Anyways, I also have an onboard air compressor, which is wired in to the switch. But what I'm interested in doing today is dealing with the LED fog or driving lights that has installed. Now, I already have a kit in it that I bought or that I found with the original lights, and right now it is connected through a relay. I think it is an original Toyota type relay, and it comes loose here and reveals 4 plugs as a relay should, but it's not quite the same setup as a typical Bosch relay. And so also an old connector out of a alarm that allows for wiring up 2 relays side by side. Now the original relay I have triggered to the through a switch, which is the bypass, the switch. This is the air compressor switch. The alarm is in valet mode, but original switch, this switch goes then is bypasses the function that I have here. Now this access panel just clips out, and what I have is a brake controller. So this wire, even though I can pull it off, I'm just going to let it dangle here for a minute for your viewing purposes. And I'm going to reach in underneath and try to snap the corner out here and the upper corner. Oh, sorry about the bad video. The upper corner comes out right here, and now I cannot get it out right now. There it is. Pop out that upper corner. Sorry about that. I'll pull this out, and because I've been fiddling with this, trying to figure out how to install a second relay option, I have this just kind of Mickey Mouse wired up, because the original plug was a push button plug and it worked here, and since I'm not using that right now, I just unclipped the back and put in some leads to the temporary switch, which you can see right here. Now the feed for this is the yellow wire is I believe the signal feed. It really doesn't matter which way, but the yellow wire is tied under the dash, and it is tied to, let's see, it is tied to the power on here. So the buzzer original from the car is on, saying that my lights are left on, and that is required in order for the LED driving lights to come on. I'm not sure why they're not on. Did I loosen up the cable? I'm not sure what I've done. Regular headlights, but I don't know if I just loosened the cable or what happened here. Oh, duh, I just pulled off that relay. So anyways, for it to be turned on, obviously, this relay needs to be plugged in. That's the power source. So there's the LED lights, quite bright, to the vehicle in front. So if I'll just leave this partially in for your viewing purpose. It's a little bit tricky to pull out. So that's how it's wired. So I can turn it off like that, on with the switch. But it also means that if I turn the headlights, it goes off. And that's the way that I'm reminded not to leave the driving lights on as I step away from the vehicle. If I turn the lights off, then the signal wire goes off. Now, as I continue, and I'm gonna try to clip the two videos together, as I continue, what I wanna do is leave this, make it a little more permanent. Actually, I'm gonna trim this connector off because I don't need this. I want this style connector, or maybe I'll get another push button connector, but I have to order that in. I don't have it here with me right now, and all I was able to find where I live out of the United States and not so accessible to Amazon is these switches that I had previously sitting in a box. So they're okay. I put the air compressor one way down low and this one up high. Easy to access. But my desire is that I would be able to hook it to the flash to pass, and therefore it would come on when the brights come on. Now I'd like to bypass it, but I'm not going to spend the time bypassing it right now, so that I could turn it off with an additional switch in here. Right now I'm just going to make it so that the flash to pass, whenever I hit the stick and the highlights come on, well, any highlight function actually, whenever I have the highlights on, that those driving lights come on in support of it. So what's happening is, living in a third world country, obviously, since you wouldn't know the model typically of the Hilux and not running, but I would assume that the Tacoma and everything have the same floating ground type situation. But living in a third world country, everybody and their brother pulls out in front of me, and even with the massive bumper on the front, and when I flash the highlights, I just want a little more intensity in their eyes as to warn them that I am coming through. And so what I am doing right now is is going to pull this back off, and I'm going to pull the grill out because it's a little difficult to get to these wires that I've already installed previously, but this is a redo, and I'm going to change that relay out and put a double relay in, one that's going to still be controlled by the switch, but it just comes on this handy double plug, and the other one is going to be hooked to the passing wire. Now, I don't want to make this video super long, but basically I have power coming out of the box. I have thermal protector there, and thermal protectors there. And so let me pull the cap off for you to see real quick. Thermal protectors there. So I'm tied in to the bus. I have two thermal protectors. One that controls the air compressor, and right on top of it I have a secondary one that controls then all my other accessories. It goes out the bottom of the box up here along the side wire next to the alarm siren, and then that power lead I run against the side up here all the way across on a harness and up, and I actually run it to another thermal breaker. Now, it had a fuse with the original kit and it just melted, so I put in an additional thermal breaker here, and then that goes down through the washer and out the front, and we'll be able to see this a little bit better, but out the front, and one of these is the feed right here, and the other goes down to the fog lights. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'll pull the grill out, we'll cut these wires off because I'm going to use the other plug. I'll take this relay out right here, a 10mm bolt. I don't remember, but I think I installed this previously. It's been quite a few years. And then I will tap off of this feed wire again because it's feeding the same lights. It's just which of the switch of the relays is going to control it. Is it going to be controlled on the lights on, manually on and off with the switch, or as well goes to the same power, these are looped together, to ignite with the flash to pass or the highlights on at any time. So flash to pass or highlights, I'm going to come out, well, I think I'm going to feed on the purple wire, which if I'm not wrong, that is the 30, no, that is the 87. But it doesn't matter which way the electricity is flowing because I do have positive and negative, even with the floating ground that Toyota likes to use, which has caused me a huge headache in trying to figure this out. And I read on a blog how somebody just hooked up to the opposite terminals of the headlight, and I will try to demonstrate that here in a minute, but I have just a test wire hooked to the opposite terminals of the headlight and I have it here. I just have it held on a pair of zip ties so that it doesn't contact anything, but those go hot when I turn on the highlights because I'm plugged into that. So that the feed line with the 20 amp thermal is going to go into the purple, and then out is going to go the two wires, which I actually am going to solder together. As you see here, I'm going to solder together and hook to the red wire on the driver line. So I'll be back with you in a few minutes once I take a few more things apart.